There's Shabana Azmi, who I always looked up to because she spoke. She was one of the first actresses with a voice. She was not scared. And SriDevi. So, and she's a
but I personally feel it should be about equality. It should be about completing each other. That should be the aim. What is your opinion? Should it be about competing? Men and women should be competing with each other and they should be just outsmarting each other?
Firstly, you know, the only person who can complete you is you. I believe that no one else can complete you. All those are romantic notions कि, you know, दो जिस्म एक जान, वो एक जान सिर्फ आदमी की रह जाती है, औरत की खो जाती है. So I feel it's really about being together, about respecting each other. And I don't think competition is unhealthy. You know, I think what's nice is when we are able to compete with men, for example, for certain opportunities, or when we are considered, you know, as we're considered equal enough, or, you know, when we are offered, rather, the same opportunities, the same pay, the same position, that, I think, is wonderful. But I think when, therefore, we have to compete for the same things, I think it's a great thing.
Wonderful. Okay, I interviewed you and Farhan Akhtar for Shaadi Ke Side Effects. That was around 6 years back. You made a very pertinent statement. I've mentioned that in several of my interviews. You said that we have had to negotiate our space through ages. We have been taught that we don't have a right to expect anything. We have to get what we want in a roundabout manner.
Yeah.
Do you think, this was about 6 years back, do you think things are changing now?
Oh, I definitely think things are changing now. But I do think historically women have been taught कि आप सामने से खुद कुछ मांग नहीं सकते. You know, or you cannot have your own dreams and expectations from life, from your relationships. So if you have to get it, you have to manipulate your... So we use all sorts of tactics. Over time, we've had to do that. Right. But today, you know, like I said, when you're given those equal opportunities, when merit can get you ahead in life, there is less need to negotiate in those ways. Yeah. But I'm still talking about a small percentage of women who are, you know, whose reality is probably similar to mine. But there are lots of women who are still in that, who are still having to negotiate their spaces in that way, their rights in that way. But I think it's changing. I think that the exposure also to all sorts of media, the access to our mobile phones opens up the world for you. You know, and then you begin to see your own world through different eyes.
Right. So, in Mission Mangal, your character is a scientist who's helming a very, very important mission for the country. At the same time, she has to manage her house, and her husband has complaints, and her children have issues. Since time immemorial, the women, they have to multitask. Yeah. They've been, I think, conditioned to multitask. How important is it for men to participate in ambitions of women and to just make sure that they get a certain leeway at times so that they can pursue their dreams as well?
You know, I think it's not just enough to participate and support the woman in her dreams and to say, I allow you, go conquer the world. But to support her in other ways at home, you have to contribute equally. If she's stepping out and doing a job and doing as much outside, you have to begin to do something within the house also. I think I know so many working women who are under this pressure to multitask. They are under the pressure to be super women because you want to be the perfect professional, you know, because that is your passion, that's your identity. You also want to be the perfect daughter, daughter-in-law, mother, wife, friend. I don't know. You know, I think it's so unfair on women. And women make it tough because we don't know any better, na? We've been told कि अच्छा अब तक आप घर गृहस्थी संभालते थे, अब आप बाहर जाके काम कर सकते हो, पर we are not told that we will support you within the house. So you feel that बाहर जाके काम करना है, घर पे भी काम करना है. So woman is constantly working. I think it's very important that men step up. And I keep telling people, you know, I don't multitask. I'm in a very privileged position, but when I'm at work, I'm fully immersed in what I'm doing. I don't know. Of course, I have a great team handling my house, and I'm very grateful for that. But there are times when Siddharth steps up and, you know, does whatever is required. And then I have no, you know, I need things done in a particular way. Then it frustrates me when he's not doing it in exactly the particular way. But I have to let go of that need to control. Because he says, you know, there are little things where I micromanage, he doesn't micromanage, and then it frustrates me. But the very fact that he's contributing, I appreciate. I'll push him little by little to do more. But at least, you know, at least I know that even if I'm not home, he's... And even when I'm at home, there are things that we share. As in, you know, there are things that he takes care of, there are things that I take care of. So it's easier said than done, but if every man could go back home and just hand his wife, especially the wife, a glass of water, you'll see your world change.
My God. That's wonderful. And I can vouch for the fact that Siddharth, there have been occasions when he has really liked your interviews with us and certain stories that maybe I've written, so he has really been very, very happy with that. So I've personally experienced that.
Right.
Okay, and who have been your icons for women empowerment? Like, who are the women that you've looked up to?
In cinema?
Cinema, across the spectrum?
I think personally I'd say my sister, she's 4 years older than me. Her name's Priya. She's in advertising. I've always looked up to her as my hero. I've always felt that when she walks into a space, she commands attention. She can talk about anything. She can talk 90 to the dozen. She's doing extremely well in her career, and she's also spreading herself thin because she's a working mother. She has twins. So I keep telling her from time to time, you know, just take it easy. You don't have to be a superwoman, a super mom. But I think she just gives herself entirely to whatever she's doing, and that I've always admired. But besides that, for example, in cinema, there's Shabana Azmi, who I always looked up to because she spoke. She was one of the first actresses with a voice. She was not scared to express her opinions. She, the kind of roles she picked were those of women who weren't taking things lying down, you know. She played very strong characters. She was one very strong influence. And then in another way, SriDevi, because she actually, she was in a lot of ways, she, you know, she was probably one of the biggest commercial successes for a female actor. They say she used to command the same price that her male counterparts got. And, you know, picture unke naam se chalti thi. And she was doing a wide variety of roles. And I love her as an actor. So I love both Shabana Azmi and SriDevi. So, and she's a completely different person from Shabana Azmi, but so quiet, so withdrawn, and yet she was commanding. She had commanding screen presence, and quietly she did what she had to. And so I think these are the women I also must add that every woman who's trying to live her life on her own terms, to, pursue her dreams, I get inspired by each one of them. And I'm not just paying lip service. I keep going back to the time when I was at Xavier's. I used to be living in Chembur. I would take the local train and I would meet so many women, in the ladies' compartment. And they would all have, they were doing so many things at the same time. But they were positive and they were happy and they were laughing and gossiping. I admired I got inspired by each one of them. They weren't bogged down by the fact that they were expected to do so much. They would complain about their mothers-in-law. They would complain about their kids, about their husbands, and all of that with a smile and a laugh. But importantly, they were going out there, working, earning money, feeling like they're contributing more beyond the house. So I think I get inspired by, in the industry, for example, we have so many female technicians today.